What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Scratch Agency Podcast, hosted by Scratch Agents for Scratch Agents. This episode is brought to you by Virtual Intelligence, your premier partner for client-facing and back-office virtual employees. My name is Stephen Turnbull, founder of T5 Insurance Services in Clinton, New York, and I am joined by my co-host today, the one and only, you already know, sipping his coffee, hold your applause, Mr. Sean Fitzgerald, founder of Sound Harbor Insurance in Long Island, New York. Mr. Fitzgerald, how we doing?
We are doing great. I am excited to have this conversation today because, we've been getting a lot of good conversations coming from the Telegram community. And one of the ones that came up was David Watson over here from Risk Advisor talking about, basically a custom proposal he did through Advisor Evolved with also using his proposal software from Risk Advisor. And when I clicked it and opened it, I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. So I was like, I need to learn more about this. I need to learn how to do it because I am kind of guilty of just putting an email together, throwing in a quick Loom video and calling it a day. So I think there's a lot to add on with using, the combination of Risk Advisor and Advisor Evolved to, bring people to your website and whatnot. So I'm excited to get this conversation going.
Let's sidetrack before we have the conversation. First off, David, thank you on behalf of Sean, myself, the community, everybody who's going for sponsoring the event coming up in July. If you've listened to the last couple of episodes, we talked about it. We have our first meetup that's coming up on July 31st in Washington, D.C., Scratch Agency Podcast Meetup.com. I better verify that's correct, so I'll hit that at the end to make sure that's correct. I think it's Mastermind, Scratch Agency Podcast Mastermind.com. On the look of Sean's face, he doesn't know either. So we'll verify that.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Cool to talk about how these two vendors are helping us independent Scratch agents be better because they're both supporting that event, and just super grateful for your support on that, David.
Yeah, absolutely. I obviously big fans of what you are doing with the podcast, but also the community, and very avid about the fact that it's been the help that I've received as a Scratch agent when I started in 2016 was the reason I'm still here doing in this industry, even though it might be adjacent to today. So love to be able to get back.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And hot off the press, we just confirmed scratchagencymastermind.com is where you can find the details for that. We're definitely over halfway full sold out of that. So, make sure to jump on that. If you have any questions, reach out to Sean and I. But like Sean said, this is another segment of community chats. We have a Telegram community, if you're listening for the first time, maybe, that's filled with 72 Scratch agents right now from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all different premium sizes, way of doing business, tons of great conversations daily happening in that chat. And that's where this conversation sparked. So I know we're going to put Sean in the hot seat, which is just, I love that. So this is going to be great. We're going to put Sean in the hot seat for a little bit and just talk about how these two tools can help us do better. So Sean, I'll hand it off to you and David.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I think just a good place to start would be, honestly, I've been using Advisor Evolve for, basically almost since I opened the agency. However, I'm guilty of not utilizing the QuoteVids portion of it. And I've been guilty of not using the custom proposal software within Risk Advisor and combining the two, which I think is which is something really cool that you can create out of that. So my question to you, to keep it as simple as possible, let's just say somebody starting out on Advisor Evolved or somebody who isn't utilizing it to the full extent with Risk Advisor, like what would that look like as far as like creating a custom proposal and tying it into the Advisor Evolved QuoteVids?
Yeah, so a couple things kind of take a step back. Very, very much going to be talking a lot about the Advisor Evolve tool. Obviously, we'll mention the video proposals from or the agency proposals from our platform, Risk Advisor, as well. But a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about on this are things that can be used whether you continue to use a service like Loom, or if you're using something else when it comes to any type of video proposal software. I just personally believe that Advisor Evolve's QuoteVids is not only were they really the first one doing it, but they are also the best when it comes to that. And excited to dive in on that.
So I think what might be cool from here, David, is if you could share your screen. So for those listening on the podcast, go over to YouTube and you'll be able to see David's screen that he's going to share with you, and just show us what the potential of this could look like in the event you get it all set up with the proposals and the QuoteVids.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what kind of catch you up on where this is? So this is inside of my Advisor Evolved website. I use Advisor Evolved for my agency Mappus. Did over 600 QuoteVids as my time as an agent. One of the coolest things about the QuoteVids is how many of our Google reviews mentioned the video proposal that we put together as part of the reason why they chose to do business with us. And a lot of these QuoteVids in our agency were done before COVID. So it was prior to when everybody was used to being virtual. So as an agency that was virtual first prior to COVID, it was one of those things that it made it really easy to kind of go the next step. So with that being said, what I've already done here is I've already recorded a short video. That's not really the video itself is not going to be the topic of this, but wanted to kind of walk y'all through a couple of things that I would do to kind of optimize it a little bit within the QuoteVids system. One of the things that I'll do is the video background image here. So we lead with home insurance, home and flood insurance in our agency. So what I would do is go take a screenshot of the house. And so the example that I'm using here is Tony Stark. So I'm going to go grab a picture of his, and I know I'm not sharing that screen of it, but you'll see it here in a moment. But really all I would ever do is to make it simple is I would just go find the house on Zillow or on Google search, and I would just go grab a screenshot of that and just upload it. Just so that way it kind of made it personal, because that's going to be like the first thing that people see when they log into this QuoteVid. With that, a couple other things that you can do. A lot of these have actually been updated since I was using QuoteVids regularly. But the title color, the video background color, a lot of cool things that you can do there. The next step is going into the content of the video. So this is one of those things that will take your video proposals to the next step. So Sean, I know you have been doing video proposals for a while now, but what you have been doing is sending the Loom link, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Within the email.
Yep. And so with there's been a lot of debate on this, but with the actual documents of that like that carrier quote or whatever it is that you're using, are you including that in the as an attachment to that email?
Yes.
Or okay. So I know a lot of people
take the carrier proposal and upload it to the
I know a lot of people, what they will do is they go back and forth. Do I include that in the email? Do I only include the video? But one of my favorite things when it comes to what you can do with QuoteVids is you can make it to where you are uploading those documents, whether it's agency proposals or any of the carrier quotes inside of the QuoteVid. So, and this is something that you always call out inside of the email that you send to the prospect saying, hey, I've taken the time to record a custom proposal for you. You can check it out. Here's the link. Here's the password. You will find the documents, the actual carrier quotes or the proposal inside of the QuoteVid. You can hit download documents or whatever you want to call it, and you'll have it. So that way, what you're doing is you're having them log into that video proposal. and download it there instead of someone who will happen quite a bit, I'm sure, if you have it just as an attachment. What you'll see is that they'll just go straight to the document because all they care about is price, price, price. And let me get to the premium summary page or whatever it might be, without ever actually recording the video that you took 5 to 10 minutes to record.
Or it makes it a lot easier for them to just click the forward button and send it to another agent.
Yeah. No, that's definitely it has been fun. I know that there's been times where I've gotten the notification that a QuoteVid's been viewed, and I know that this has happened by another agent because the agent then emailed me and said, "Hey, who does your website? How did you do this?" I think they might be a customer now. I'm not sure.
I love that.
Guys are involved. But so the one that I'm always doing here is I am always going to have the download documents. And one of the things that I do on the back end of my video when I'm done is I give them a prompt in that. And I'll do this at the front of the video and at the end of the video saying, hey, to walk through what I just shared with you, point down, like if you're on camera, unfortunately I'm not on camera, but point down to the download documents button and say, hey, you can view these this full package that I put together for you by hitting the download documents button. So that way it's very straightforward.
Gotcha.
We have some other options here. So one of the things that you could do is maybe if you wanted to put a link here, one of the things that I'll do is check out our 600 plus 5-star Google reviews, and then put the link to our Google My Business listing. So that way, if they're looking for social proof, they can easily find it.
Yep, I like that.
And then
that's one of the biggest things because I just want to touch on that real quick, because I think that's a big benefit of using the platform, and that's one of the things I noticed. I think on Advisor Evolve's web training portal, it's like a video of Crowley like pops up. Like that they use as a test. Like when they click the accept proposal button, you can embed a video into it. You can add specific buttons like you're saying, accept the proposal, see our Google testimonials, book a call with me, and it's all on one easy to read page. Versus if they go to Loom, do I email you back? Do I call you? It makes it it messes up the communication. I feel like it doesn't make it as efficient.
Yep, 100%. And then, so with that, you've got and a lot of these, like these button texts are the Google reviews, the book a call. If you're an Advisor Evolved customer, you don't have to do this every single time. As part of your settings in your profile, you can set those up to where it just automates that for you. So a lot of the things that we're looking at here today, like really if you were doing this consistently, the only thing that you would have to do individually is going to be upload the proposal as the download documents option.
Gotcha.
With that as well is this agent info. So one of the things that I do, now that doesn't have to be something that everybody does. It depends on how comfortable you are with your social media. If you've got strong views, no matter what topic, one way or the other, maybe don't do this, or maybe do it. Maybe you want to use that as a way to disqualify somebody. I don't know. That's up to you. But one of the things that I again point out in my video is my social media accounts. Mine are open. I'll kind of joke around. Hey, if you want a more professional setting, go check out my LinkedIn. If you want my bad sports taste, go to Twitter on a Saturday in the fall. And try to make it more personal, because the whole reason you're doing this video proposal is to show who you are, especially if you work with a lot of people where you never even meet with them. This is an easy way to make it to where, hey, you are showing that you are someone with a personality that they can build rapport with without even meeting you face to face. And again, this agent info here, where it's got the display agent info, all that you set up in your profile. So I never even came to the agent box because all that stuff was already set up for me. But if you wanted to add some things like a picture of your family or something like that, Stephen, for you with your newborn, if you wanted to do that, as, hey, I've got a newborn, buy my insurance so I can feed my family type of thing. I made plenty of jokes about that, like all the time, where I'm just like, hey, I've got 3 kids, like right after, back when I was still selling insurance, back when my third was born, I was like, hey, I've got 3 kids now, like help me feed them. It's all about, and I'm joking a little bit, but I'm dead serious, where doing things like that will, for most people, put you in a different category because they're not used to that from their insurance agent.
Yeah, it just makes it more
Totally makes
personal.
sense.
Yep. So we did the schedule a call on the buttons, but if you use a service like a Calendly or any of those that provide you an embed code, you can also just have that on this embed container. So that way, what that's going to do is just make it really, really easy for you to show your availability. And that's something, again, when I was doing that, I would point underneath the video, say, hey, if you want to schedule a call, easiest way is to book a time right on my calendar that works just for you. So that's something that's really, really easy to do with this. And Sean, you mentioned it. One of the biggest things about this, or biggest advantages about this, is the fact that it's going to be all in one link. You're almost keeping them captive once they click that, where they're seeing all this.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Notifications, so you're able to set these up what you can do is in view with this being password protected, anytime that they log in, you're going to get a notification that this person is checking out this quote vid. The cool thing, you mentioned forwarding this to someone else. I think you kind of meant it is like just forwarding it over to a competitor. But when 2 o'clock in the morning, they're forwarding this over to their spouse in a different time zone or something like that, you can see this was watched 5, 6, 7 times, which happen regularly.
Cool.
With this as well, I know that he's done some additional things here. You can also you can set up a Zapier trigger. It may not be on this page, but there's some of those different additional things that you can do that makes this really, really work with your automation, whether that's in Agency Zoom or one of the other ones there as well. But what we can do is I'll jump over here. So let me go grab this password that was set up. While I'm grabbing this password, what questions? I know I'm kind of rambling at this point.
Yeah,
No,
I
it
just
was
want to
good.
hit a few things.
Yeah, you
Oh,
go.
go ahead, Sean.
No,
All
you
right.
go.
Just to put it in perspective for people that are watching and listening, how many quote vids did you do when you were an agent, you said?
I think between my 2 different agency sites, when I started scratch with Blue Lake Insurance and then merged into Mappus, I think it was over 650.
Okay. So with all of that experience, and I think, Sean brought it up, how it could be just faster and easier to do the Loom video, send out the proposal, boom, on to the next one, blah, blah, blah. Once you have this dialed in, and I love the fact that you talked about those settings and how you can really nail those down to where you're just adding in the proposal, the documents, the photo if you want to, and then you're good. Once you have it dialed in, how much extra time do you really think it takes to do it this way?
I got it to the point where my average quote vid was 5 to 10 minutes. And then before I was doing agency proposals, what would be happening with that is I had a Google spreadsheet where I would create a template and then save it as a PDF. That took the longest. But I had everything templated. So like once you finish this up, what you're going to have is you're going to get a link and you're going to have a password. And then with that as well, you go push that into like a custom field inside of Agency Zoom, and the email's written, it sends it out, all the follow-up. But on average, my entire process when I got from starting to record to sending it out, I got the process under 15 minutes.
And so I know we're going to talk about the proposal side with Risk Advisor and how obviously the conversation we're merging the two. That's what we're talking about today. My question is though, for principals, producers that are listening, how much of this can a back office virtual assistant, a CSR, whatever, set up prior to the person that's selling the policy coming to do? Can we go in and create these and then have them saved as a draft? So can my VA come in, input the quote, input the house name, input all the information, and then I can just go and basically record it and then send it out? Is there a way to do that with the merging the two together to have it set up and kind of saved as a draft in the system?
Yeah. So one with the agency proposal system, the reason we built that is a lot of the proposal builders out there, if they're importing data, it's coming from like a rater. And raters are great, but they're never going to have an accurate rate. So it was a waste of time to import that from the rater. So if you knowing Risk Advisor, we have our intake is called a risk profile. So what we do is we allow you to import that risk profile into that proposal. And we recognize that only gets you about 75% of the way there, but hey, that's still much closer than zero. And so what I would do, and I've talked to a couple other agencies who are doing the same thing, what they would do here is, hey, here's the carrier quote I'm going with, forward it over to the VA. They log into Risk Advisor, import the risk profile, knock out the agency proposal in under 5 minutes, send that to the producer, because you want the producer to be the one that goes in here, shares the screen, and introduces themselves and records the quote vid. And then, so with that, that's where you kind of can segment it down. But that makes it very, very streamlined for that salesperson, that producer, to very easily and quickly get through this.
Yeah, I just want to clarify something for those watching and listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the screen right now. So the QuoteVids is the tool that comes through Advisor Evolved on the websites that we're talking about. The agency proposals is what we're going to get into further here. That is a part of your Risk Advisor
Great call
tool.
out.
So I just want to make sure we understand the differences there and how we're talking about how they're merging together.
Yep. So with this, a benefit here is it's password protected. So with the importance of this, no matter which platform you're using for a video proposal, is making sure that it is password protected, because if that link does get out, you think about, even if it's a carrier quote, but even if it's like a basic proposal document, there is some personal identifiable information on that, whether it's just name and address or birthdays or driver's license numbers. It's important that it's password protected, so that way it gives you a little bit extra kind of segment there.
Yeah.
But what I would always do with my password is I would be very intentional with that. It generates a random password, but let's say they gave me the dog's name or the kid's name or where they went to school or something like that, which I'm always figuring that out during that discovery call. Or just something as simple, hey, last name number one. What I would always do is make the password about them, so that way they have a good feeling putting that password in. So pretty sure I said client number one, enter. Yeah, it worked. So with this, you can see, like, I should have grabbed a bigger photo to make it not tile, but we set
David,
that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to clarify this for everybody watching. So this is what the client's going to see, correct? We're seeing now the back end of what we set up. We're seeing now the client facing as if you send it to them and we're opening it, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Perfect. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we clarified that.
No, great call out. Yeah, so the benefit here as well is, right when I enter that password, I just got an email notification that said, "Hey, so and so has viewed your quote vid." That I didn't go over it, but there's a section in there if you want to, where you can put like their name, their email, and phone number. So that way you have that in that email notification. But with this, one of the things, like I said earlier, that I would always do is, if I'm doing home insurance or any type of insurance that's related to the home, I'm putting this background as an image of their house. That's something that, again, it takes an extra 30 seconds, but that's one of those things that just, again, is just going to set yourself apart.
For sure.
And so with this, they've got the video where they can view that. They've got those social media profiles that I was talking about. The new updated format of this is to the side. So if I had pointed down, I'd be confusing them. Whereas you want to make sure, hey, point to the side of you where, hey, you've got the download documents, you've got the Google review, the book a call. With this, I'm going to mute this. But so one of the things that I would always do at the top of this is I'd start full screen. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to wave at them. I'm going to have a big smile, telling them thank you for taking the extra time to actually jump into this video proposal. And then from there, once I do a short intro, I'm into the actual carrier quote, which I forgot to do as part of this pre-recorded example. But what I'm going to do at this point is go full screen with my into the agency proposal, which is what we see on this screen.
Can you just go back really quick? I just want to point something out to where you just were with your video. So the video is on top of that proposal, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, it's sleek looking. So if they blow that up, the video is just kind of hovering over the top of the proposal that we're going to get into.
Yep. Cool. So with it, you have the ability to either go full screen with your video, which is what I always start out with. And then what I would do from there is you have the ability to minimize it, but you're always going to still be in the right-hand corner of that video. So that way they will continue to see you on screen.
Cool.
And then from there, that's when I just start going into the video proposal, or the proposal from Risk Advisor, which is our agency proposal system. A couple big things, and this, whether you use our platform or any other proposal generator, a couple things that were important to us was, one, again, making it personal, especially on the home insurance. Upload a picture of the house. It's going to have so that way you can talk about that. It's always going to be your logo. The brand color is going to be your brand color that you set in Risk Advisor. One tip that I'll throw out here is, if you are working with deductibles and you have to work off of your carriers provide a percent deductible, one of the easiest ways to drive a wedge between you and your competition is to explain what a percent deductible actually is. No one knows about that. They don't understand what a percent deductible is. So taking the time, which our system will do this automatically, of, hey, a wind hail deductible of 2% is 2% or the dollar amount. Taking the time while you're doing this video, again, whether it's our platform or a Loom video with the carrier quote, taking the time to explain what a percent deductible is always going to be a huge advantage for you if you have to deal with percent deductibles, because no one is, majority of people are not taking the time to actually explain how those work.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially like where I live is like they have a lot of hurricane deductible, windstorm deductibles. So yeah, no, that's a good point.
With this as well, so with the agency proposal system, we have home, auto. One of the big advantages of our proposal generator over some of those, some of the other ones out there, is we have your primary coverages that are the same for the entire policy, but then we also allow you to put individual coverages per vehicle. So if the comp deductible is different with each vehicle, one, since you're doing a video proposal, make sure to point that out to them. So, hey, you're covered on an E&O basis if they accept that. Not only did you sign the application, but here's the video proposal I sent you explaining that you have a 500 on the Honda. Well, all these are Hondas, but $500 deductible on one of the vehicles, but $2,500 on the other one, or something like that.
Pony really likes the 22 Honda Odysseys, huh?
I know, right? With this as well, one of my personal favorites is our umbrella proposals. So inside of Risk Advisor, we have a calculator that helps you come up with the estimated liability risk for someone. And with this, it's going to kick out that estimated liability risk on the proposal. But then this one shows two, but the finalized versions of these actually show three claim scenarios. And what that does, especially if you're taking the time to do a video proposal, is maybe not talk about them in depth, but point these out that, hey, you've already done a great job. I know you currently have a $1 million proposal or umbrella. Based on the data that we talked about, you probably need to be at a $3 million umbrella. And here's a couple of common claim examples that you could come up against on why you need to consider more coverage. Or if they don't currently have it, explaining why they need to think about at least a $1 million umbrella because of these common claim examples. That way, it just makes it easier for that cross-sell and that upsell there. And then finally, we'll generate a premium summary. So our platform right now only does home, auto, and umbrella as generated proposals. But something that was really important for us was to have this premium summary to where if they also had a boat and a golf cart that you were looking at insuring. So you have the primary coverages, but then the optional coverages. So the reason we did that is because the way I always looked at it doesn't have to be how you look at it, but the way I looked at it was if someone either asked for this coverage or they currently have this coverage, then I'm putting it up here under the premium summary. So that way it adds up that annual total for us to talk about. But one of the things that I would always do based on our location is no matter if they had it or not, I'm always offering flood insurance and earthquake insurance. But with those additional premiums, I don't want those additional premiums to add to this annual total in case someone looks at apples to apples comparison. I know we all hate that, but that's anytime someone looks at this, they're going to scroll to the last page to see how much they're paying. The last thing you want to do is hear them say, well, you're $500 more a year, so I'm just going to stay put. Well, that's because you're looking at 7 policies versus 5. Of course, we're going to be more expensive because we're offering more coverage. So that's what this optional coverage section allows you to do, is to offer additional options or additional coverage types and have those premiums broken out. So that way you can talk about those individually.
Yeah, I think this is great. I mean, off the top of my head, I get like, maybe it's just because I live in New York, but I get overwhelmed pretty easily. But what I think is so great about this is we're in a world now of how do we make things easier? How do we use AI to send the email? How do we do that? And like, we are losing the human touch more and more and more. And I do feel like by using the custom proposal within Risk Advisor and using the advisor evolved QuoteVids, you're just adding a level of human touch that I feel like is just diminishing more and more by the day, with the use of AI and things like that. So I do truly believe this is something that can help you stand out big time. And it's something that's super customizable and super personalized. It
Yep.
makes me think of you, Stephen, when you do like your thank you cards and you take the time to get the picture off their social media page and put it on the thank you card. It just shows you're going the extra mile and that a robot didn't just do this. You know what I mean?
David, I'm putting you on the spot here, so if you can't do it, it's fine. Is it easy enough to possibly show us the process of creating those agency proposals in Risk Advisor while we're on the call?
I can do that. Give me 1 second. Let me jump in there.
I want to say again, as I'm thinking of this and listen and thinking about somebody who's listening or watching this right now, the initial thought could again be, man, this is fantastic, but I'm not going to have the time to do this if I'm sending 5 quotes out a day or whatever. But the ability, a lot of people are using VAs now for quoting. A lot of people are using CSRs for discovery calls, everything that we talk about on the show. And just including this in those processes with those back end people can make the world a difference, and maybe a few extra minutes for the producers or principals, whatever, to jump in and make it happen. So if you could just walk us through how easy it is to create those, I think it'd be great.
Absolutely. One of the things, whether you have a VA do this or you do it yourself, one of the things that I will not hide is that you will spend extra time compared to your process. One of the things that I'll just leave an open question for anybody listening to this, and I don't expect an answer on this, but when we look at things, if let's say this process increases your closing rate by 5%, what's more valuable, increasing your closing rate by 5%, or saving 5 minutes a couple times a week because you do something quicker. We all know about exponential growth and how that adds up. And I don't have any data to back this up on, but I'm willing to bet that if by starting a relationship with a customer with a video proposal and something that's customized to them, I would be willing to bet that that gains you a couple extra retention points as well, because of the fact that they feel like they have a personal relationship. Even if they don't end up retaining them, it probably would have given you an extra shot or two by going this extra step on the front end. But so
100%.
what our system looks like is it says to search for the risk profile here. So that's the risk profile, for those who don't know, is the risk advisor intake form. So a lot of this data that you're going to need on your proposal is going to be included in that. So you can just do a quick search. And with that as well, it's going to show Helen Bones is my example that I always use. So we're going to see a lot of those. But this one, I'm going to select this home, auto, and umbrella proposal here, or risk profile, and hope that I grabbed one that actually has some pre-filled data on it. So this is where with the address, if I were to upload that screenshot that I showed earlier, you can just drag and drop it or upload it there. Of course, I grabbed one that we don't have data pre-filled, grabbed a draft instead. But here, what you would see here is this is where you're going to put in the name of the carrier. So popular carrier for me is Auto Owners. And if you are coastal, or if you're having to deal with carrier ratings that you might have some AM Best, you might have some Demotech, KBRA, non-admitted, things like that, you can decide, this is not required, you can decide how important talking about the strength of that carrier is to you. So if you didn't want to, you don't have to select anything here, and you can work through that. This would have been pre-filled with, I think my common example is $450,000 in dwelling coverage. You can select what type of valuation type it is. We have the policy form up here as well. Other structures, this again would have been pre-filled with probably, I think, 4,500. But even with that, I mean, this is a good way to look at it. How long it's going to take me with something that wasn't pre-filled. So
now, a quick question on this: is this going to pre-fill from what we initially inputted in the risk profile?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's going to give you the starting point. And so let's say you thought the dwelling coverage, when you send it over to your VA or your rater, your carriers, you thought, hey, the dwelling coverage, I think it's going to be around 450. But if you got in here and said, you know what, it's going to be 467, 500, then all you have to do is update it. I personally almost looked at this as like a checklist of making sure that the coverages, the deductibles that I had talked about with that prospect, were actually what I was going to put in front of them before I did that video proposal. Deductibles, if you're lucky enough to be able to just offer a $2,500 all peril deductible, you could do that. But if you had to go maybe $2,500 all other perils with a named hurricane at 2%, that's where we're going to automatically calculate that based off the dwelling coverage for you. The increased cost of construction, a lot of these fields are going to pre-populate again, either from the risk profile or what we had a moment ago. Things like if you say equipment breakdown and you say no for these coverages, not only is it not going to show equipment breakdown no on that proposal, it's just not going to show it. Just so that way you're not having to explain why something's not there. Now you can always add it back on and then say 50,000 or things like that. So that way it does show up.
Are these fields customizable? Can we add things in there?
Not currently. Great question there. We do have to kind of help with that. I'll put this, well, let's just say 2,500. I wish that's what my home insurance was. We do have note sections for every type of proposal for that exact reason. So that way you can, like, one of the things I normally do, if you add earthquake, 5% deductible and $750 per year. So that way it's on that home proposal there.
Yep.
So it pre-filled Helen as a driver. I can quickly edit this, pull it up here. Let's say we found out that she qualified for a discount, so we just add that back. Again, I pulled in an empty value, so it's not going to pull in the vehicle. So let's just say 2020 Ram 1500.
Well, just stop in there real quick for those who don't use risk advisors. When the risk profile David's talking about is the initial quote intake form that you're taking before you start the quote during that discovery call. So this information that he's talking about that's going to be pre-filling is going to be all the vehicles, all the driver information, all the information that we get before we go out to market and everything. So I just wanted to clarify that for people listening that aren't familiar with the system. So that's huge that all of this is going to drop through, because again, you said you pulled an empty one because I put you on the spot here, which I apologize for, but I think this is super valuable because all this information is going to pile through, and I would say 90% of this you just have to verify, those are the drivers, yep, and those are things your VAs can do, your CSRs, whoever is putting together those quotes as part of this process.
100%. And one of the things too that we wanted to make sure to do was like the annual mileage, because that's always something that came up for me, at least, on how many miles are you rating the vehicle for, and then also the to from work. You always want that on the proposal instead of waiting for the application. These also would have come through from that risk profile, but again, it's not a huge deal to just populate these. Now, these are split limits, but if I'd gone in and said 500 CSL, then it would have narrowed that down to where I'm only answering what I would have there. These are all state-specific coverages, so if your state has additional coverages, they would show up here. One of the things that we wanted to do with this is, let's say $100 a month, but like auto owners for me, let's say they offer discounts based on how you paid. So $100 a month, but you could get it for $550 for paying a year, but you could also get it for $1,000 a year if you paid in full. So you have the ability to add multiple options there. And then this is those pre-filled claim scenarios. So we will pre-fill this for you, but if you have a specific claim scenario that you know is going to resonate with this person, just remove it. If you pull it from ChatGPT or wherever, just copy and paste it in there. So that way your specific one. But that's why basically what we did is we looked at Travelers. They come out with a list of the 10 most common umbrella claims every single year, and we just took the best ones from that.
Great idea.
Auto owners. That estimated liability risk is what I was talking about there. That would have pre-filled. And then let's say $3 million for the umbrella limit, and then we do have UIM limit that you can pull through as well. And then we're going to get to the premium summary page. Because for the home coverage, because I put the premium in for each one of these, it's going to pre-fill here. And that's where I would say, let's say flood with Neptune, $550 a year. And then once I hit save, it does take a couple moments to generate those PDFs, so I won't worry about doing that here. But once that saves, that's where we're gonna see these documents that we were showing earlier. They're gonna generate with your brand color, your logo, things like openly insurance or auto. Let's say this was that auto owner's insurance. If I had not selected the carrier rating, you would kind of almost expect that you would just see the parentheses and it kind of look crappy. Well, with this, you're not even going to see the parentheses because we wanted to make sure that it adapted to how you use it.
And David, just remind me, if because this happens a lot where I'm at in a coastal area, like the home and the auto are the home, auto, and flood are usually 3 different companies. I can go in and I'll be able to break that out line by line, right?
Yep. So
okay, cool.
that's going to that's
on
a
that
perfect
page.
example of why to use this. Is in that scenario, if you're just doing carrier quotes, you're going to you're trying to talk about your brand. but then the home carrier, the home carrier is going to look one way, the auto carrier another way, Progressive for the golf cart another way. You're not building your brand; you're confusing them about the carrier brand. Whereas
no, it's a good point. That comes up a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, because that does come up a lot. They'll be like, wait, but who's Sound Harbor if the company SageSure is writing it? And then I see SafePort. I'm like, every time we got to like explain it. But yeah, I could see how it would make the conversation a lot easier if it's just all on one attachment versus 3, 4, 5 different proposals.
Yep.
Like that.
Love it.
I mean, that's all I got. This looks freaking great.
Yeah, this was amazing. And David, thank you for explaining that further and allowing me to just throw that on you last minute to go through that, because that's huge. I want to put myself in the hot seat a little bit here and just say, to scratch agents that might be listening, Sean, I last month T5 hit a revenue milestone that was super exciting. Next month will be 3 years, and I've done a little bit of reflection on that, right, and looked back and like, there's the give and take of when you're scratch of like, do I invest in this tool? Do I invest in that tool and this and that? But like, David, I got to get a heartfelt thank you to you and your team, and Chris, especially both of you, because the way that we've been able to scale and bring on support staff. So right now it's just me, VA and a CSR, but I look back at that and the way to be able to scale to bring them on quickly and train them was because of the processes. And we talk about that all the time, like process. If you're scratch, if you're one person and you think, well, I don't need this because it's just me and I'm going to put it through on my PDF or whatever, you're doing yourself a disservice when you go to bring on that first person, when you go to bring on that VA. And I can tell you single-handedly, because it was 8 months in the agency before I came across David, got up with the risk advisor, got all those things going, got everything going with Chris. And now I look back at the risk profile that we have set up, and I want to just finish by explaining the new business process, because we've really nailed that in perfectly. Is when we get the information, I do the discovery call and I don't touch it until it's ready to do the video proposal, because our manual, our back end VA is doing all the quoting, taking all the information, but he's looking at the risk profile. He can read the risk profile like the back of his hand, puts it into Hawksoft, sets all that up. And if it wasn't for having those processes set up when it was just me as a one-man show, when I brought on that first support person, it would have been right back to the beginning of, all right, what tool do I need to do to optimize this to make it easier for the team? And as we continue to grow, coming up on our 3rd year and bringing more people in from a producer level, service level, whatever it is, it's here's the tools that we use and here's the process we have set up and here's how they all merge together. So just a heartfelt thank you, David, for what you do for the independent channel, what you've done for me and getting this all together. And I think that this was an incredibly value episode to take back and watch.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that feedback, and it's one of those things that hearing stories like that, thinking back where we were 2.5, 3 years ago when you jumped on board, and where we're continuing to go from here are freaking awesome. And as you know, those stories keep you going in the tough times. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thanks for being on again and doing this. Everybody, that's another episode of the Scratch Agency Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, like the show, share the show, and subscribe. Remember, check out the event we have coming up on July 31st. David will be there. We're super excited to mastermind, have some great roundtable discussions on July 31st in DC. ScratchAgencyMastermind.com. Until then, most importantly, remember to dig down deep, believe in yourself, and own your own future. We'll see you next week. Take care.